Okay, why is the NHL Pacific Division so bad this year? Well, it's actually very, very simple. In the summer, I would have got out the whiteboard to do all the predictions and stuff like that and all the numbers. We don't need the numbers here because the positions in the league and the division itself speak for itself. Three teams are dragging the Pacific division down. That is LA Kings. They're bottom of the NHL right now, even though they beat St. Louis 2-0 last night. Anaheim, their form has deserted them. They've gone off a cliff. They are riddled with injuries. Anaheim, riddled with injuries from top to bottom. Some of their best players are out injured, some are not even fully fit. And the Vegas Golden Knights have had a poor start to the season. These three teams all made the playoffs last year. The one team that has significantly improved, Arizona. One team significantly improving, three teams significantly regressing, unbalances the division. Also, San Jose, they're good, they're solid, and Calgary have a really good start. Edmonton are two hit and miss. I can see only three Pacific Division teams making the playoffs compared to five in the Central. The Central is a much tougher division. You've got to look at the teams that are doing well in the Central, which is all but Chicago and St. Louis. Chicago are in a rebuild phase. We know that. St. Louis have just sacked Mike Yeo. Long overdue sacking. It wasn't working at all this season. They missed the playoffs last year under his stewardship. That's not working at all. Look what they are they're second bottom in the league overall, and they're bottom of the Central. But the Central is a much tougher division. You've got to look at the teams that are doing well in the Central, which is at least five of them: Nashville, Winnipeg, Colorado, Minnesota. That's four. Four that are regularly in the playoff conversation. Whereas you look at the Pacific and Edmonton, apart from one playoff appearance for the better part of a decade, haven't been in the playoff mix. Arizona haven't been in the playoff mix for a long time, although this season they're having a really good start and they could sneak into third place. I think only three sides make it into the playoffs from the Pacific. The reason why LA, aging team, not getting the wins, poor start to the season, their record is atrocious. Anaheim, falling off a cliff. Vegas are actually being what an expansion team should be. Having some struggles and having to learn to develop the players. They had a great season last year, outstanding fairy tale story, Cinderella story, but they've gone back to earth where they should have been. The fact that Arizona have improved markedly from where they were last year doesn't replace these three teams that are clearly not going to make the playoffs. The Pacific and the Metro are the two divisions. Maybe the Atlantic. I think the Central is the toughest division in hockey because two teams will miss out minimum out of a 7-team division, which will change in future years when the introduction of Seattle. But the Pacific, you've got these three big teams that made the playoffs last year, not on playoff form, clearly going to miss. That will drag the division down. Plus the Central, the teams in the Central are more competitive, and therefore you're going to have the wild cards coming from the Central because it's much harder in the Central to make the playoffs. We saw last year how tight it became between Nashville and Winnipeg at the top, and how Colorado pipped St. Louis by a point on the last day of the regular season. The Pacific, I don't think Calgary alone can drag it up because the division itself, the bottom half of the division, isn't there. Vancouver have hit the skids the last couple of days, couple of weeks with a losing streak of 6. They did have a bright start. They themselves are in a rebuild phase. They are not a playoff ready team yet, although unpredictable that last season was. So half the division is severely weak, and I can see only three teams making the playoffs. Arizona, I think, could sneak in there. Calgary and San Jose, they're my playoff picks for that division. There is going to be no wild card. I don't think Edmonton are consistent enough. And Vancouver, great start they had, that's disappeared. Anaheim haven't got any form. They are struggling. So basically, if you look at the Pacific, 3 out of the 4 teams that made the playoffs last year are not in the playoff conversation now, a quarter of the way through the season. And the way it's going, well, let's have a look at it. LA have replaced the coach. Stevens has been fired this season. They were very swift in that. I can see Anaheim, Randy Carlyle losing his job as well before season's done. And Todd McClellan, if he doesn't make the playoffs this year with Edmonton, or even get in the mix by the trade deadline, I think he's out as well. Vancouver weren't expected to be a playoff team this year. They are still on decent numbers. They've got to arrest this losing streak. Arizona have got one of the best penalty kills in the league, and 2 goalies who've got some of the best numbers in the league. They've had some defeats in there, but they're not losing by much. And when they do win, they win well. And they've had some big wins as well against division rivals and conference rivals this season. Hence why they are where they are, and they have a decent record. I don't think San Jose and Calgary can carry this division. There's just not enough quality in the division this season. There's reasons why the Pacific is a weak division this year, and it's because 3 teams that made the playoffs last year are having atrocious seasons, and they are dragging the division down. Hence why I think the Central will have 5 teams in the playoffs instead of 4, and the Pacific are only going to have 3. It's the weakest division in hockey right now, is the Pacific. But that's my view on it. People will have different views on it, and different expectations of where teams end up. But for me, the state of the LA Kings, Anaheim Ducks, and Vegas Golden Knights, that is dragging down the division as a whole. Edmonton could finish 4th and miss out on the playoffs by a few points because of the weakness of the division. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below. And place your. I really want to hear from hockey fans in North America what they feel on the Pacific Division. I really do. And I'll have some more videos for you soon.